Hello, my name is Patty. Today is July 28th, 2020. I've worked for the Salt Lake County Parks and Recreation for 8 years throughout my entire high school and college education. I started as a lifeguard and swim instructor and held many different job titles, mostly in aquatics, before my current job title as a program coordinator, which I've been at for about 3 years now. Studying commercial, community, and sport management while working for the county has opened my mind into what is possible. There are so many opportunities within the field, working with all ages and backgrounds. Also, the educational experience from work and school is applicable to so many other fields. I've enjoyed working for the county because they have always encouraged me to take on challenges that I'm interested in. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to learn and try new challenges. Fortunately, my job positions have never required me to work in areas that I'm not interested in, and all I have to do to take on new responsibilities is ask. This summer, my job responsibilities were up in the air due to the pandemic. Fortunately, because I have so much say in what my responsibilities and challenges are, it was easy to determine how I could ensure my goals would be finished by the end of the summer for the purpose of this internship. I accepted a full-time redeployment job opportunity in the beginning of April with the Salt Lake County Health Department, working at a quarantine isolation shelter for those testing positive for COVID or waiting their test results and were just unable to quarantine on their own. So I've so much enjoyed the change of pace and learned a lot about myself. I know that I am really interested in public health and safety, and I care a lot about the quality of our community's resources related to health, and that all starts with healthy individuals. This summer, I spent most of my time as a quarantine and isolation coordinator overseeing resources provided to our clients under our care during their quarantine or isolation period. This includes organization of transport, intake, and orientation at the facility, coordination of pickup of clients' belongings and prescriptions, coordination of delivery for meal times, and any personal items needed throughout their quarantine, as well as coordination of visits to medical services. Often the populations we serve are those experiencing homelessness. I have had the opportunity to learn about resources available to homeless populations by advocating for them to receive sheltering resources or behavioral rehabilitation resources and things like that after their quarantine is finished. I also learned that unfortunately there are not a lot of resources out there, and many of those resources are totally overwhelmed, especially at this time. It can take hours over the phone to speak with a person who can help connect you with resources, and often days of waiting for those resources to have capacity for new patients. In addition to my responsibilities with the health department, I continue to work on some projects with the Parks and Recreation Department. At the beginning of the summer, I was excited to take on coordination of the youth archery program. As soon as the recreation center shut down, I created and submitted modified operations guidelines to run the archery program with social distancing and extra sanitization once Salt Lake City went into the orange phase. Administration decided we would not be providing any additional programming this summer, so I was not able to create that program into fruition. Throughout the summer, I stuck to aquatics-based projects and programming along with my health department duties. At the beginning of the summer, I got a license to certify lifeguard instructors. With this increase in knowledge and mentoring skills, I mentored some new instructors teaching lifeguard classes. We worked on creating lesson plans and also explored options to redirect these lesson plans when teaching tactics are not effectively working for students. For example, taking time to regroup and break down the sequence of skills training into smaller chunks, then putting them all together to perform a full scenario. I also worked with some coworkers and administrators to put together new aquatics job descriptions and pay rates to try and make pay more equitable amongst market rates. With this same group of coworkers, I put together updated pool contamination procedures to meet CDC guidelines. Research for this project was a bit of a headache because pool equipment varies at all the different 18 18 different county pool locations. So anyway, these contamination procedures and job descriptions were submitted to administration for review and approval. I also created an online course for lifeguards and supervisors to become efficient at basic pump room maintenance and chemical balancing. This course was called Pump Room Aquatics University. Previously, I taught this class in person with another instructor, but making it into an online format with a checklist to be done at the pool site individuals would be working at was all in the works before COVID, but now it fits perfectly due to social distancing. Anyway, I took the lead in designing this course because I wanted it to be more individualized, to teach a student about the site they would actually be working at. This course now comes with specific resources for maintenance procedures in each of the 18 poolside mechanical pump rooms. After we reopened in Orange I was able to perform audits on 2 different pools. These audits included documentation checkup, make sure everything's filled out properly and in place, as well as observations on lifeguard scanning techniques, supervisors on deck and providing support to the lifeguards, as well as pulling the lifeguards for a skills check. So here is a video of that skills check for an unresponsive drowning victim scenario. So the lifeguards are doing really well right here. They did miss in-water rescue breathing, but when they pull this person out, everything happens really quickly, and the supervisor is delegating responsibilities really well. The only other thing I would say is just retraining for this pandemic, wearing masks as much as possible, sliding them back up if they're not providing rescue breathing, without that bag valve mask. But overall they did really well, and then we did some retraining after. I'm proud to say that after this long and winding road of working and going to school at the same time, I have successfully accomplished all the goals I set at the beginning of the summer, and it feels so good to be basically done with my bachelor's degree. Looking back on my summer semester, I've been able to reflect on some things. There are a lot of considerations to make when starting a program from scratch. Never having started a program on my own before, I feel good about the progress I made with the 2 programs I was able to get off the ground this summer: the Pump Room Aquatics University course and the enrichment activities for clients in quarantine. I feel that my experience up to this point has prepared me to accomplish all the tasks to get a new program up and running. I feel more confident now that I've had the experience of creating and following through with these new programs. One of the best skills I learned at the U is techniques for marketing, specifically how to perform a SWOT analysis and also create digestible marketing materials. Learning how to connect with your audience is helpful for internal and external marketing, and not just marketing of services or events to the public, but marketing to communicate ideas to those you work with on a daily basis. Reflecting on how I spent most of my working hours this summer, I have some comments to note. From where I stand in the world, generally, the response to this pandemic has been a little unorganized and mostly reactive. I don't think that many people in this country were really prepared for a pandemic. So as soon as cases were rising in Utah, the county health department opened a makeshift shelter with minimal guidance for operation procedures to house people under quarantine due to the pandemic. Early on, my coworkers and I recognized that mental and physical health were declining for individuals through their quarantine. Coming from a recreation background, I realized that if a person is not able to meet their basic needs in their life, such as mental health, they will not be able to enjoy their leisure time. It was difficult to determine how to set up socially distanced recreation activities or these enrichment activities that I wanted to create a program for adults and children to do. But also, not overpromise what our staff is capable of providing. The enrichment or recreation activities became more of an informal program structure. On slower work days, I would often tell clients I would be offering a yoga course outside after dinner. We also collected some resistance bands and yoga mats to offer adults, and toys, puzzles, board games, and interactive books for the families. Ideally, I had outlined many activities for these people to do, such as talent shows and Gatorade Pong tournaments. But we had barriers to get materials. Um, we were too busy to stick to an activity schedule. Um, Sometimes clients were just not interested in the activities. So, anyway, sometimes programs take off, and sometimes they're morphed into what works best for the clients and staff. Also, scheduled recreation is difficult to stick to when basic needs in life aren't being met. However, sometimes impromptu recreation can help us get in a better mindset to get those basic needs met. Anyway, what I've learned about recreation programming is being flexible is really important. Um, I've learned that I really do enjoy being an advocate for vulnerable populations, and I've enjoyed working for the health department a lot and would be interested in taking a position with them or applying for one when they do have positions open. I'm becoming more interested in working to make a difference in the resources that help individuals meet basic needs in their life. And I think that coming from a recreation background, I have a different viewpoint which can help diversify the way organizations solve problems. I think I have a lot to learn still about public health and social work, and I'm really glad that I'm done with my degree for now, and I'm very thankful to have had a job that's been so flexible throughout my um, college degree. But within the next 2 years, I would like to go back to school for a degree in social working so that I continue to work on the front lines to try to make a difference for people who want to change for the better in their life. As far as internships go, I recommend working for the county, Salt Lake County, because there are so many opportunities. What I recommend most, though, is networking. Even though Salt Lake County is a large organization, word kind of tends to spread like wildfire. If you're able to make a good impression on a few people and let them know your intentions and your goals, we will help you find a place to fit in where you should be able to learn and be challenged, as well as serve an important role in operations. Especially as a bachelor's student, there are lots of positions allocated to so many niche activities. Really, all you have to do is ask.